Desperate CEO revealed his hidden challenge, until an amazing delivery driver spoke 4 languages. Ethan Carter's life had unraveled faster than he could catch his breath. Once the kingpin of tech moguls, he'd traded in his tailored suits for grease-stained pants and a weathered delivery van. Each turn of the wheel sent shivers of despair through him, a constant reminder that the American dream had turned into a nightmare. Maplewood, the quaint suburb he had called home for years, felt suffocating now. The very air whispered judgment, and he could almost see the pity etched on the faces of former colleagues and neighbors as they looked past him, pretending not to notice the fall from grace. "Ethan, is that you?" a voice said hesitantly outside the local grocer. A fleeting smile danced across his lips before recognition hit. It was Karen, an old business partner. She shifted uncomfortably, unable to conceal her disdain. In that moment, he felt as if he were suffocating. His suit, now replaced by a crumpled polo shirt, didn't do him any favors. When had doing an honest job become something to be ashamed of? He took one deep breath before pressing on, the familiar hum of the engine reminding him of the power he once wielded. Every delivery carried a weight heavier than the boxes he loaded. The clink of glass bottles and the rustle of paper bags sang reminders of the life he used to lead, the applause from boardrooms haunting him like a cruel specter. But it was during one of these seemingly mundane deliveries that everything shifted. At Clara's door, he found more than food packages waiting to be accepted. He found warmth and words that chipped away at the weight on his heart. With a toddler peeking curiously around her legs, Clara welcomed him with open arms. She balanced her life with grace, speaking 4 languages, juggling motherhood, and the endless responsibilities that came with being an immigrant striving for a better life. She was tired, but her smile radiated a light that made Ethan see his struggle through different eyes. Sharing stories during late-night shifts became their reprieve, a holy sanctuary among the chaos surrounding them. Waves of understanding washed over both of them. Clara spoke of hope and resilience, of her dreams for a brighter future, a stark contrast to Ethan's weary acceptance of defeat. Yet, through their friendship formed over shared aspirations, he felt a flicker of the spark he thought lost forever. And then the storm struck. Maplewood was battered. Families suffering as trees were uprooted and homes reduced to rubble. Panic gripped the community, the familiar faces now touched with despair. Ethan's gut twisted. He could either fold under the pressure or step up alongside Clara, who had already begun mobilizing efforts to help. "Together we can do this," she urged, her determination resonating with the courage that had once fueled his own ambitions. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue." Their makeshift relief operation turned into a lifeline, but challenges loomed ahead. The storm had not just wrecked homes, but had also unmasked underlying tensions in Maplewood. Clara was determined to break through societal barriers, while Ethan wrestled his own biases as he witnessed neighbors banding together, putting aside their differences. Unexpected kindness blossomed amid the chaos, uplifting the community, leaving Ethan stunned and yearning for the dignity he once commanded. Yet, just when their collective effort began to sew the rip in their community fabric, a misunderstanding arose threatening to undo the goodwill they had built and unveil truths better left hidden. As the town gathered to discuss the aftermath of the storm, Ethan found his heart racing. Would he choose the path of honesty or one bound by fear? Clara's hope dangled in the balance, her future intertwined with decisions made that night. In the analyzing looks of their neighbors, they both wrestled with their pasts as the chilling wind clawed at their resolve. What would this moment reveal about their true characters? Would they rise above their circumstances, or would this storm tear apart the fragile bond they had begun to forge? As doubt crept in, Ethan could only wonder if he had the strength to pave the way back to dignity, while Clara stood ready, heart full, waiting to see if her perseverance would finally be acknowledged. The town hall meeting buzzed with tension. Ethan stood at the back, feeling the weight of 100 eyes, each glistening with judgment. Clara sat at the front, her determined gaze fixed on a map, outlining areas hardest hit by the storm. She caught his eye for a moment, a small nod of encouragement, but he still felt lost in the sea of uncertainty. As the discussion turned heated, voices clashed like crashing waves. Some residents spoke of rebuilding, while others focused only on their losses. Ethan's chest tightened at the sight of familiar faces, once colleagues, now neighbors who only saw the delivery van he drove. Their whispers felt like daggers, isolating him further in a crowd of empathy and warmth. Clara waved her hands to quiet the uproar, her voice cutting through the din. "We are all in this together," she cried, her passion igniting a flicker of hope in the hearts around her. He wanted to join her, to shout out that they could harness this energy. But a wave of insecurity crashed down again. The man who once led multimillion-dollar projects now felt like a ghost among the living. Then a voice in the back broke the uneasy silence. "Why should we let this outsider take charge?" The comments ignited murmurs, all heads turning sharply towards Ethan. Pain cut through him, a reminder of his downfall, now displayed for all to see. He could see Clara tense, her brow furrowing. But it was then, through all the chaos, something snapped inside him. He wouldn't let her fight this battle alone. Taking a deep breath, Ethan stepped forward, heart pounding in his chest. "I might be an outsider now," he began, his voice carrying weight. "But I know this community. I know what it's like to lose everything and fight for what's important." Feelings of shame and doubt twisted into determination as he looked around the room. "What matters right now is not our pasts, but what we can do together today." The crowd grew quiet, uncertainty replaced by curiosity. He pressed on, recalling their shared experiences of hardship, how Clara's unwavering spirit had inspired him. "We have the power to rebuild not just homes but trust and connection. Let us find the best in each other. If we can set aside our anger, work together, I truly believe we can restore Maplewood." In that moment something shifted. Clara's eyes sparkled with pride, and slowly, others began to nod in agreement. They were ready to listen. Encouraged by the building support, Ethan finally felt like he was stepping back into his old shoes this time. Not as a CEO but as a leader from the heart. As the meeting wrapped up, plans of collective efforts began to take shape. Ideas filled the room with a vibrant energy. Clara's smile gave him comfort, yet the knot of tension still lingered in his gut. What would happen next? Outside the wind howled, but inside there was a fire of hope. Could they manage the conflicting emotions of a community torn apart by both external forces and internal strife? The integration of their paths, once fractured, laid a path forward. Ethan could see the possibilities ripple outward, but shadows of doubt still loomed behind corners, waiting to pounce. As he stepped out into the cool night air, he felt Clara at his side. "You did it, Ethan. You found your voice," she said softly, pride mingling with relief. "Thanks to you," he replied, glancing at the remnants of darkness still hanging in the air. But as they turned their backs to the hall, an unexpected call rang out from the shadows, someone who knew secrets about the past. As he called Ethan's name, the weight of old regrets crashed down once more. What revelations would this voice bring into the light? Ethan froze, the sound of his name echoing in the stillness. He half turned, his heart pounding, as a figure emerged from the shadows. It was Samuel, a man who had once been a mentor to him back in his corporate days. The lines on Samuel's face seemed deeper now, as if etched by the burden of hard truths and untold stories. "Ethan," Samuel called again, stepping closer. The crowd dispersed, leaving a circle of tension hanging in the air like storm clouds. Clara looked at Ethan, her expression a mix of concern and curiosity. "What is it, Samuel?" Ethan replied, his voice steadier than he felt. "You think it's all about rebuilding, but you need to know the sacrifices behind those walls," Samuel said, his gaze piercing. "You left Maplewood, but this town never forgot what you did. You brought innovation. You brought hope. But it also meant leaving things behind." Ethan felt a chill creep up his spine. The past had haunted him long enough, and now it walked beside him. "I know I made mistakes, but I'm here to help. Right now we need unity more than ever." "Unity?" Samuel scoffed, bitterness settling into his tone. "You think it's that simple? You never knew about the deal, the one you signed before you left. The one that cut ties with everyone who mattered." Ethan's breath caught. "What do you mean?" Samuel stepped forward, lowering his voice. "There's a contract, Ethan. One that left several families in disarray, including yours." The mention of his family sent a surge of panic through him. Clara took his hand, squeezing gently. Ethan listened to him. What are you hiding from us? Ethan shook his head. There's nothing to hide. I did what I thought was best. I couldn't have known exactly, Samuel interrupted, frustration boiling over. You didn't want to see the collateral damage of your decisions. People lost jobs. Lives were uprooted. This community still feels that sting. You want to lead? You need to face what you've built and what it has cost. Ethan felt the air grow thick. The anger swirling in Samuel's words mirrored the turmoil inside him. He had thought leaving was a solution. Had it only added to the pain? Maybe I can fix it, he said, slowly finding his voice. Perhaps if I can make this right, if we can work together. You can't just wave a magic wand, Samuel shot back. Repairing this kind of damage takes more than goodwill. It's about trust, something you need to earn all over again. Then let me earn it. Determination poured from him, fueled by the silent support from Clara and the now attentive crowd. I know I can't change the past, but I can help us build a better future. Together. I'm ready to do whatever it takes. As Ethan spoke, murmurs rose in the crowd. Samuel stood still, a flicker of something, fear perhaps, crossed his face. Be careful what you wish for, Ethan, Samuel warned, his voice lowering. The past always finds a way to resurface. A distant voice echoed through the night. Ethan's heart raced. What other secrets could still linger in the shadows? Was there more to uncover? And could he face whatever lay ahead with the community beside him? He took a deep breath, ready to confront the truths that would emerge. I'm ready. Let us turn over every stone, and dig deeper if we have to, but the tension coiled tighter around them, like a storm gathering strength in the distance. What would that truth reveal? Ethan squinted into the dark, the weight of Samuel's words pressing heavy against his chest. The air was charged with a mix of anxiety and anticipation. Each person in the crowd holding their breath as if waiting for a storm to break. Clara's grip on his hand was firm. Her eyes locked on him with an intensity that both comforted and unnerved him. From what you've just said, I can gather that part of this might be my fault, but that doesn't explain everything, Samuel. You need to tell me more about this contract, Ethan urged, frustration creeping into his voice. The man who had always inspired him was now a gatekeeper of truths. He felt he should have known. Samuel stepped back, as if weighing his next words carefully, but time was not on their side. You think revolutionizing the company would create jobs, but for every new position, there are those that were shuttered. Don't you get it? It's about the livelihoods. You drove innovation, sure, but at a cost. You need to confront not just your errors, but who suffered because of them. Ethan felt his heart race. He thought he could fix the wounds from his past, but this was deeper than he imagined. Talk to me. Let us figure it out together. This community deserves transparency. His voice cracked slightly, the reality of hurt lives hitting closer to home than he anticipated. The murmurs around him grew louder, a chorus of doubt and curiosity the crowd struggled to contain. A voice shouted from the back, cutting through the noise. What about us, Ethan? What do we mean now? At that moment, a woman stepped out from the edge of the crowd, her expression fiery and resolute. She was holding a stack of papers, evidence, it seemed. You can't just promise things without knowing what your promises are worth. We need to see the whole picture. Ethan felt the heat of the moment. This wasn't just about him. It was about the people standing before him, the very lives intertwined with his decisions. You're right. I need to see these, he said, reaching for the papers. As he read through the documents, his stomach twisted. Everything started to click into place: the layoffs, the whispered conversations at the diner, the silent shame in the eyes of those he once knew. Each name mentioned felt like a stitch unraveling in the fabric of this community he had taken for granted. This is devastating, he breathed, struggling to mask the anger that boiled within him. I had no idea how deep this went. Clara stepped closer, her expression a mix of support and concern. What now, Ethan? You can't fix everything in one night. No, he said, eyes flickering with determination. But I can start by hearing every story. I'll talk to the families here. We need to gather everyone. Tonight. A wave of chatter rippled through the crowd as people exchanged glances, unsure whether to trust him again. But then one voice rang out, a young man, no more than 20, who worked as a delivery driver. I'll help. I speak 4 languages, and I know families that need their stories heard. Let us use what we have. Ethan felt a spark of hope ignite inside him. Yes, we can do this together. The crowd began to shift, energy sparking as they took tentative steps toward unity. It wasn't all trust yet, but they were willing to try. Yet, amidst the building excitement, a shadow flickered in Ethan's mind. What truths lay buried still? Was all this effort going to be worth it, or would more secrets like the one Samuel revealed tear the community apart again? Just as he was about to speak again, a loud crash echoed from the nearby diner. Everyone turned as the door swung open violently. A figure standing silhouetted against the light, an intruder? What now could threaten the fragile hope he was starting to build? The figure in the doorway was shrouded in darkness, a stark contrast to the flickering diner lights behind him. Ethan squinted, heart pounding in his chest, as the figure stumbled forward into the glow. It was a man, disheveled and wild-eyed, but there was a strange urgency in his movements. "Oh, thank God!" the man gasped, breathless. "You have to listen to me. You won't believe what I just found out." The crowd collectively shifted, uncertainty lacing the air. Ethan stepped forward, adrenaline coursing through him. "Who are you? What's going on?" "My name is Malcolm. I used to work at the factory." Before he hesitated, glancing at the crowd. "Before everything went down. I know about the contract. I know too much." He was shaking, the weight of his revelation looming over them. Ethan's heart raced again. "You know about the contract? You mean Samuel S.?" Malcolm nodded vigorously. "He is not just a gatekeeper. He is hiding things, big things." I was digging through old files and he took a deep breath as the crowd leaned in. "There are clauses in there that could destroy us all, not just the families affected but the whole community. It's coming for us and we need to act fast." The murmur of the crowd swelled again, apprehension clawing at their expressions. Clara's grip tightened on Ethan's hand, a mixture of fear and faith in her eyes. "What do you mean destroy?" she asked softly, her voice barely audible over the tense energy surging through the crowd. "If we don't band together, if we don't figure this out, those layoffs, the losses, they weren't just mistakes. They were planned." Malcolm was almost pleading, desperation spilling from his words. "We're on the brink of losing everything. Trust me." Ethan's mind raced. He didn't want to believe it, but the dread that had been building was undeniable. "What do we do?" he asked, bewilderment flashing through him. "We need to stand united." Malcolm's voice cracked with intensity. "You're trying to collect stories, right? Well, we need more than that. We need a plan. We need to confront Samuel and the board. We need to expose the truth." Energy surged through Ethan, igniting a fire in his belly. "Then let us do it. We can gather everyone right now inside that diner. All together." He turned to the crowd, his determination radiating. "We need to be loud. We need to be heard. No more secrets." Glancing at his side, he saw the young delivery driver from moments ago. "Can you help gather people? We need everyone on board." "Yes, I'll talk to my friends and neighbors." The young man jumped in, the spark of enthusiasm lighting up his face as word spread. People began moving, gathering their neighbors and friends, their energy shifting from fear to purpose. Despite the chaos, Ethan felt a pulse of optimism in the air. They were no longer a crowd of worried souls. They were a collective of determination, ready to face their fears. But as they hustled toward that diner, a new uncertainty gnawed at him. Could they trust Malcolm? What if he was just adding fuel to the fire? Just then, a distant siren wailed in the background, a haunting reminder that danger was quickly closing in on them. Anxiety prickled Ethan's skin. What if confronting the truth meant losing everything they were trying to rebuild? He could feel his heart pounding louder than the sounds of a rapidly approaching storm. Would they have the strength to face the consequences of the revelations to come? Or would this push for unity lead to a catastrophe no one saw coming? As they rushed toward the diner, Ethan could feel the weight of the moment pressing down on him. The night was thick with tension, as the flicker of diner lights seemed to pulse like a heartbeat. Clara's fingers were intertwined with his, her grip a lifeline in the chaotic world swirling around them. Inside the diner, the air was electric. The aroma of coffee mingled with the anxiety that radiated from every corner. The chatter quieted as Malcolm stood on the edge of the counter, raising his voice. "We need to get organized." he declared, and the crowd, now swelling with purpose, listened intently. What do you have in mind? A voice called out from the back. It was Lila, the town librarian, known for her intelligence and unwavering commitment to the community. Her presence grounded Ethan. We have to create a committee, Malcolm suggested, his eyes darting to each familiar face in the room. We need heads. Someone for research, someone for outreach, and someone to handle communications. If we want to challenge Samuel and the board, we need our ducks in a row. Ethan felt his heart leap. I'll take communications, he volunteered. The crowd turned to look at him, some faces filled with surprise but others nodding in approval. I can handle outreach. Clara chimed in, her voice steady now. I know all the families in town. We can spread the word. The excitement in the diner began to build, transforming the fearful murmurs into something more resolute. Malcolm leaned closer, lowering his voice. We need to dig deeper into those files I found. There's more there. We might need someone able to interpret it. Ethan's mind raced again. What about a lawyer? Someone who knows their way around contracts? Evelyn. She works in legal downtown. Lila shouted, her eyes melting with hope. If anyone can help us understand what we're dealing with, it's her. Even as plans began to take shape, the sirens grew nearer, slicing through the fleeting moment of unity. The sense of urgency hung over them like a storm cloud. Ethan glanced out the window as a police car's lights illuminated the diner, casting long shadows across the faces of the gathered townsfolk. What do we do if they come in here? Someone whispered, fear creeping back into the air. The murmur of anxious questions bubbled in tandem with the growing anxiety. Stay calm, Ethan urged, raising his hands for attention. We're just citizens uniting to find the truth. We have every right to gather. Malcolm nodded vigorously. Exactly. If they push us, we push back. They fear what we can achieve together. Among the crowd, Ethan spotted the delivery driver again. Can you get word to Evelyn? It'll be a risk, but it'll be worth it. Sure thing, he replied, his spirit unwavering. I'll get her here. As the driver dashed away, adrenaline coursed through Ethan. But beneath that thrill lurked a new fear. What if this was all for nothing? What if Evelyn couldn't help? What if their fight only summoned more trouble? Then amid that unease, a thought struck Ethan. Was it worth it to stand up against the giants, knowing they might crush everything they held dear? Suddenly, the door swung open and in walked a familiar face, Samuel. The CEO's expression was cold and calculating, an unmistakable aura of power radiating off him. Ethan's heart fell. This was the moment they both feared and anticipated. The truth they sought stood there, a mere breath away. Good evening, Samuel said, voice smooth yet firm. I hear you all are making quite the buzz. The tension wrapped around them like a vice, hearts holding their breath. Would this confrontation mark the beginning of their fight, or would it shatter their resolve entirely? Was it already too late to turn back? Ethan felt the air grow denser as Samuel stepped further into the diner. There was something about his presence that sucked the warmth from the room, leaving them frozen in place. The clinking of silverware and murmurs of disbelief were swallowed by a thick silence. Eyes darted among the townsfolk, a silent tug-of-war between fear and defiance. What's this, folks? Samuel's eyes scanned the room, a smirk playing at the corners of his lips. An emergency meeting without a proper invitation? His sarcasm hung heavy in the atmosphere, prompting a wave of defiance in Ethan. Wasn't he just the local communications guy now? He was the voice for everyone gathered there, his family, his friends. We're here to discuss the acquisition of our land, he blurted, surprising even himself with the fervor in his voice. Samuel raised an eyebrow. Ah yes, your little protest. Cute, he replied, voice dripping with condescension. You really think a few gatherers in a diner will change anything? This is business. The crowd shifted nervously. Clara squeezed Ethan's hand tighter. It's more than business to us, Samuel. This is our home, she shouted, her voice steady despite the surge of anxiety rushing through her. Samuel let out a low chuckle. Home? You think sentimentality will hold up against a well-oiled machine like mine? I deal in reality, not emotions. Ethan's heart raced. He could sense the energy of the room shifting from fear to anger, like a fire sparked by dry kindling. You're underestimating us, he said, his voice growing stronger. We're not backing down. We will fight for what's ours. Before Samuel could retort, the delivery driver burst back into the diner. Evelyn's on her way, he announced, eyes wide with excitement. Really? Evelyn? Lila exclaimed, practically jumping out of her seat. She looked at the driver, eyes sparkling with gratitude. You did it. We need her to help us with what Samuel's planning. But Samuel didn't seem bothered. You're counting on a woman from a law office? He scoffed, waving a dismissive hand. Don't make me laugh. She won't stand a chance against my resources. Clara stood taller, her voice breaking their tension. She's not just a name, Samuel. She's a fighter like us. Ethan could feel the collective heartbeat of the diner. Together, they were stronger than some high-stakes corporate boardroom. Their resolve hummed in the air like an electric charge. Suddenly, Samuel shifted tactics. Imagine your lives changed forever. No mortgage. No bills. A quick payout, he said, letting the lure of his words hang tantalizingly in the air. I'm offering you keys to freedom if you join me. Ethan's stomach turned. Was this a real offer or merely a trap? A whisper cut through his swirling thoughts how easily some might choose comfort over the fight. We're not interested in handouts that come at the cost of our land. Ethan shouted back, emboldened by the room's energy. We choose to stand up, not sell out. As Samuel's gaze narrowed, Clara's voice was soft yet firm. You underestimate our community's strength. We stand for each other. That's what you don't understand. Samuel stepped closer, his demeanor shifting. The playful air left his voice, replaced by a steely menace. Consider this a warning, he said, lowering his voice. You can keep your little committee, but organizational efforts can only slow the inevitable. A storm is on the horizon. The tension reached a boiling point. Words hung in the air, the weight of fear and determination battling for control. Ethan took a breath, heart pounding wildly, feeling both fear and hope blend into a singular resolve. They had to press on. You could sense it, this was only the beginning. But just then, the door swung open again, this time to reveal Evelyn, confident and ready. The moment she stepped through the threshold, the atmosphere shifted entirely. Sorry I'm late, folks. Let us get to work, she called out, her voice echoing through the diner's walls like a herald of hope. Ethan's heart raced. Was this the turning point they needed? Would her presence ignite a spark strong enough to push back against Samuel's looming threats? As the room erupted into action around them, a chilling thought washed over him. What if they were stepping deeper into a battle they couldn't win? Evelyn's entrance seemed to fill the diner with a new energy. Her confident stride cut through the tension that had settled like fog over the room. Ethan felt hope surge within him. This was someone who understood the stakes. Someone who wouldn't shy away from a fight. Have you been briefed? She asked, glancing around at the gathered townsfolk. Her eyes sparkled with a mix of determination and warmth, pulling everyone in. Just about, Clara said, nodding. Samuel's trying to pressure us into selling our land. He thinks we'll cave if he dangles shiny promises in front of us. Evelyn crossed her arms, her brows knitting together. It's classic intimidation tactics, she said. But together you can stand strong against him. This isn't just about land. It's about community, about dignity. The realization that they had a lawyer in their corner shifted the atmosphere further. Ethan noticed Samuel leaning back slightly, the bravado in his smirk wavering just for a moment. Evelyn's presence was like a beacon, and Ethan could see the townsfolk's determination solidifying around her. Let us strategize, she said, pulling a chair to the side. Her confidence rippled through the crowd, igniting a fire under the debate. What does Samuel want and how can we counter his moves? Lila erupted with ideas about organizing rallies, while Clara suggested mobilizing social media. The whirlwind of ideas filled the diner, each person contributing a little piece of their heart. Ethan stood back, absorbing it all. The fear had turned into a collective passion that stirred the room. But as he watched, a shadow moved past the window. Samuel, growing restless, cast a glance outside. A pulse of dread shot through the diner. Was he retreating or planning something more insidious? Stay focused. Evelyn's voice cut through, and everyone turned back towards her. We need to show Samuel that what he's doing here won't fly. We need facts, objections, and a united stance. Ethan, Clara said quietly, nudging him. What about the document from the last town hall meeting? The one where people expressed how much the land means to them? Ethan's heart raced with the realization. Yes, I can grab it. He dashed to the back of the diner, his pulse quickening as he rifled through the papers. The document was there. It held the sentiments of the townsfolk, their fears, their hopes, and it was exactly what he needed to bring back to the fight. As he emerged, he noticed Samuel standing on the other side of the street, arms crossed, surveying the diner like it held all the secrets of their resistance. The man exuded an air of arrogance, but Ethan knew better than to let that shake his resolve. Here, Ethan shouted, holding up the document triumphantly. This is our foundation, our voice. If we stand together, there's no way he can ignore what we have to say. Evelyn smiled, a fierce look of validation in her eyes. That's it. This will be our rallying point. The energy surged once again, louder now. As the townspeople gathered closer, a sense of unity formed. It felt palpable, electric. They weren't just fighting for their land. They were fighting for their lives, their dreams, their legacy. Just then, a sudden boom of thunder rumbled outside, echoing Samuel's earlier threats. People turned nervously toward the windows. Looks like a storm is brewing, Lila said, biting her lip nervously. Yes, Evelyn replied, her voice steady. But instead of fearing it, we face it head-on. Ethan locked eyes with Clara. He saw the reflection of his own determination. They were about to step into the eye of the storm, but as fears mixed with hope, a chilling thought settled in his gut. Would their unity be strong enough to withstand the approaching tempest Samuel promised? The sound of the diner door creaking open again broke the moment, and all eyes turned toward the new arrival, uncertain of who or what could walk in next. The door swung open, and a gust of wind swept through the diner. A sharp chill followed, snaking its way into the hearts of the townsfolk. Everyone's gaze landed on a tall figure who stepped inside, shaking off the rain. It was a young woman, her dark hair plastered to her forehead, her eyes alight with apprehension. "Excuse me," she said, an urgency in her voice. "I heard there's trouble. I might be able to help." It took a moment for Evelyn to recognize her. "Maya, what are you doing here?" Maya stepped farther into the diner, her breath quickening. "I just got in town. I saw Samuel's team moving in. I've been following the situation from afar." "What do you mean?" Ethan asked, raising his eyebrows. "I have connections with some of his former associates. They know he's up to something bigger than just buying land. He's trying to push you into a deal that could wipe out the community entirely." Gasps pierced the air as the reality sunk in. Clara grabbed Ethan's arm, her knuckles white. Evelyn's gaze sharpened, her mind racing. "What do we need to know?" Maya cleared her throat, glancing around the room. "I overheard discussions, plans about using coded contracts. If you sign the wrong papers, he'll have the authority to do whatever he wants." Evelyn clenched her fists, the weight of responsibility settling on her shoulders. "We must expose this. We can't let him pull his tricks here without everyone knowing." "Exactly," Maya replied, her voice rising with passion. "You need those signatures from your neighbors, everyone who cares about this town. Once we have proof he's misleading you, then we can counteract it." Clara exclaimed, hope flaring in her eyes. The air thickened with a renewed sense of purpose. Ethan glanced at the document he held. "We have something already. It shows how much we value this land." The sense of urgency grew, igniting the fire within the group. They began to formulate a plan, tossing ideas around like leaves in the wind. Maya's insight lent them clarity, while Evelyn led the charge, motivating each person in the diner to share their stories, their love for their homes, and the reasons they would never sell. As the storm raged outside, a crescendo of voices filled the diner. Everyone contributed heartfelt accounts of what the land meant to them. Tears glimmered in their eyes as Ethan listened. This wasn't just a fight for land anymore. It was a fight for a life intertwined with heritage, memories, and hope. Just then the diner's lights flickered ominously. The storm outside clamored louder, and the power threatened to go out completely. Samuel's silhouette darkened the diner's windows, watching like a predator, waiting for just the right moment to strike. "We can't let him intimidate us," Evelyn shouted over the growing cacophony. "We stand together, we expose him. We fight." Heartbeats quickened. Ethan looked around, every face filled with determination. Then a loud crack of thunder split the air, shaking the diner. Chairs rattled, and the lights dimmed again before stabilizing. What if he's not here alone? Lila whispered, eyes wide. What if he brought reinforcements? Silence swept over the crowd as everyone's eyes widened in fear. Each second felt like an eternity, and deep down, Ethan felt the coil of anxiety tightening. But then Maya stepped forward, her chin raised defiantly. If he brings trouble, we'll meet it head-on together. Our voices are louder than any storm he tries to unleash. Will they rally to face Samuel and his hidden challenges? Or will fear drown their resolve? As Ethan felt the grip of uncertainty, a more pressing question hung heavy in the air: how far were they willing to go to protect what they cherished most? The storm raged outside, but the air inside the diner buzzed with a raw intensity, a blend of fear and resolve. Ethan watched as his neighbors shared their stories, their faces illuminated by flickering lights, passion spilling from their hearts. Each tale tied them closer, each voice strengthening the fabric of their community. Remember why we're fighting? Clara shouted, jumping onto a table to gather their attention. This isn't just about land. It's about family memories, the place we call home. She was a beacon of bravery. More than just a mother, she was a force of nature. People began to rise and cheer, a wave of energy washing over them. Ethan felt his heart swell. They were no longer just a gathering. They had transformed into a united front, ready to face whatever lay ahead. I'm not backing down, Malcolm echoed, his voice rising in fervor. We know what he is trying to do, and visibility is everything. Transparency leads to strength. The room erupted in agreement. Ideas flowed, plans took shape. They crafted a cheeky yet strategic banner that read, "Maplewood Stands United," which Clara insisted be posted in front of the diner. They agreed to host a town gathering the following week, a rally aimed at bringing everyone together to formalize their fight against Samuel and clarify his tricks. The energy was contagious. Then, with a sudden crash, a surge of wind slammed the doors wide open, the storm's wrath echoing in the background. Everyone's heart skipped, eyes darting towards the entrance. Samuel's shadow loomed larger than life, stepping forth with a menacing grin, too calm for the chaos swirling around them. Isn't he this cute? His voice dripped with sarcasm. A little town meeting? You think you can stand against me? Ethan felt his pulse quicken. No retreat now. We're not afraid of you anymore, Samuel, he declared, his voice a steady drumbeat of defiance. The crowd echoed him, voices rising in a spirited symphony. What a waste of your time. Samuel pushed back, sarcasm etched in his features. I have entire teams ready to obliterate any movement you make, even if you think you're united. At that moment, Evelyn stepped forward, jaw set, ready to confront him. You can intimidate, manipulate, but this community has teeth. You underestimate our resolve. We're not your pawns in a game you can control. A pause fell, a stillness that felt almost sacred. Samuel's smirk faltered for just a second. There it was, the flicker of doubt. Is that so? He sneered, narrowing his eyes, trying to reclaim authority. Absolutely, Clara interjected, stepping beside Evelyn, the two women anchoring the energy of the room. Together we'll make sure your plans don't succeed. We'll expose you for what you really are. Ethan's heart thundered in agreement. He felt the electricity in the room shift. It was as if the storm outside had morphed, changing character. The winds howled, and in that moment it felt less like a threat and more like a call to arms. You may have people in high places, but your power can't touch the heart of our community, Ethan shouted, emboldened by Clara's fierce support. We will fight for our futures. Then a voice rang behind them, a resolute shout, we're with you. And another echoed, together we stand. The diner filled with cheers, eyes shining brighter, hopes igniting like wildfire. What will you do now, Samuel? Ethan challenged, gripping the table beside him for strength. Will you face us head-on? Or will you unravel like a coward hiding behind threats and money? Samuel's composure cracked, the facade slipping. You don't understand what you're up against, he warned, fury contorting his features. I understand just fine, Ethan shot back, heart racing with each word. You're not fighting against a corporation. You're fighting against family, against legacy. Get ready for the legal battle of your lives, Samuel hissed, backing away slowly as if preparing to escape. But don't think this is over. With that he turned, leaving the diner, the storm raging behind him. The room fizzled with energy, lifting Ethan into a blissful high. Cheers erupted around him, hands clapping, feet stamping on the floor. In that moment he realized they had become what he once lost, the strength of a community rising above hardship. "I can't believe we did it," Clara exclaimed, eyes wide with excitement. Evelyn clapped Ethan on the back. "You led them, and look at how far you've come." Ethan felt a rush of gratitude. "Thank you for standing with me, each of you," he called out. "This is just the beginning. Together we can reclaim not just our land but our pride." As plans were solidified and gatherings scheduled, the storm outside began to wane, transforming the chaotic winds into a gentle breeze. Maplewood stood united, ready to face the uncertain future, proving that even in darkness the human spirit, when adequately rallied, shines the brightest. Driving home that night, the glow of neighborly lights twinkling in the distance, Ethan knew the journey ahead was still fraught with challenges. But in that trust, that bond they had forged together, he felt a sense of peace, the kind that comes from knowing they weren't just fighting for land, they were fighting for each other. This was their moment. Sweet victory was within their grasp. And then it hit him, the now grounded community. The early stages of a new beginning wrapped in love and resilience. This was the American dream in action, reclaiming its essence. Ethan Carter had finally found his voice, and it was louder than the storm. Now this is the moment to show your support. You need to subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm, and comment your reactions and feelings about the ending. Sharing is caring, so share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Don't wait not even one more second to share. True fans understand the importance of supporting the channel through these actions.